So guys, in this lecture, I have already created a new project which you can see out here. This is the new project which I have already created and it is up and running out here. And how I have created it, let me just show you quickly. So this is the command that I have used. If you use the same command, you will be able to create a new application for Ionic. And then after running this command, it was asking me for creating a free account, Ionic free account. I didn't go for that. I just hit no and proceed ahead. After that, I opened the folder out here and simply type the command code space dot, and we open that particular project in our Visual Studio Code, which you can see out here, right? So after opening the project in Visual Studio Code, I have run the command Ionic serve and it is up and running out here, which you can see pretty nicely, right? Now at first I'm going to clear the whole application. So let's do that up. I'll go to the src folder and within that the app folder, to the home folder, and out here I'll first clear the home page HTML. So let me just clear all this stuff and I don't need it to be full screen. Let me remove that. In the toolbar, let me change it to Google Maps. You have already seen what you are going to build, so just wait and watch. I'll remove this translucent one. And now what am I going to do? I'm going to clear the SCSS out here. Let me just select all and remove everything. Alright, once that is done, let's go to our TS file and we don't need to do anything out there. So after that is done, what exactly I need to do? Let me just apply a little bit of designing to our Ion toolbar. I'll give it a color of primary. That will look good. As you can see now, it is working pretty nicely and we have the color which we expected to have. So which is looking nice. Now we need to start working with the map one. Now for the map, what am I going to do? Well, I will have a div within my Ion content. Let me paste it out here, to which I've given a class of map and an identifier of map, which we can use it in our TypeScript for the identification. So that's what we are going to do. And for this particular class map, we are going to apply some designing to our div. That is why I've given that up. So let's apply some styling to our class map. So I'll go to the SCSS and out here, I will paste this particular SCSS where I am working with this particular class map, and to which I've given position to be absolute and given a height and width of 100% because I want to take the full height and width of the Ion content. And after that, I've given the background color to be transparent so that we can see the proper color or proper design of the map. Then I have given opacity to 0 and transition, little smoothing transition that I have given it. I hope you can understand it pretty easily because it's not that tough, right? So this is simple SCSS which I have applied, simple CSS I would say, which I have applied out here. And I am making the map visible whenever you're calling this particular class, then it will become visible. The opacity will be turned to 1. So that I'm keeping it just because when the map is loaded, then only I want to show it up. Otherwise, I don't want to show it. That is why I have done that part. Alright, so I hope it's clear. It's pretty simple to understand. And now let's go and work with the functionality of this particular map or one which we are going to work with the div part. So for doing that up, for loading the map, we need the Google API at first. So for getting the Google API, you have to go to the Google Developer Console. So let me just show you out here.
So if you're a new user, I'll show you how to create a Google Map key. So first we will type Google Maps API. I'll click on Map JavaScript API where we can see all the overview of Map JavaScript API, how to connect it up, what is the use of it, how to integrate that with our applications or website. We will go to get an API key. Now it is shown out here that the Google Maps needs a billing account, okay? And in order to do that, we have to get started with our Google Maps platform. Now out here, the first step is to create a billing account. Then we will create a project, then enable APIs or SDKs, get an API key. That's it. So I'll just sign up with a new account. So you guys can sign up with your Google account. Now once I signed in order to create a billing account, I'll go to the Google Cloud Console out here. So let's follow it step by step. I'll accept it, continue. I already have integrated my billing account, okay, in my own Google account. So just to show you guys, I have opened up this account. So in this we can see that In order to get started, we have some free trials like $300 to try Google Cloud. Okay, this is the thing which Google is giving us. I'll click on get started for free. Now again, accept, continue. So you have to set up certain information of yours. So what kind of customer information I'll give as an individual, tax information, say unregistered one. Tax status is registered, you can click on registered, and then you have to provide all the information. So if I do that, then I have this one, a GST number also enabled. Okay, and if I click on unregistered, it goes away. So if you have your PAN number, you can submit it out here. Okay, then your address line, you can give it, your name, you can change it up, your city, your all other details. And then finally, once you fill up all the details, then you have to provide a payment option. So out here you can give your card number. Mostly credit card is most preferable, but still Google also accepts debit card which can auto deduct. Okay, so after you fill up all this information, you can click on the free trial. So that was the whole setting up process. I think you have already done that. You have integrated your credit card or debit card properly. Now once your billing details are done, you can see, you can manage your billing account. Okay, I'm coming back to my original account where I've done that. Okay, and after creating your billing account, you can simply go out here and go to APIs and services. Now, if you do not have any account created or project created, you can create a new project from here itself. Okay, I have lot many projects which I have done. So you can create a new project by going to new project, feeding these details, and you're good to go with this. Okay, I'll just click cancel because I have already created a project called Swiggy clone. So once that is done, you can enable the API services which you need to use. I need Maps JavaScript API, and it is already enabled for me because I have already enabled it. And even I think I need the Places API too. So this is the list of whole APIs which can be integrated, right?
You can enable Maps JavaScript API, also Maps SDK for iOS and Android. Also, you can use simply. If you are not going for the Places API, you can skip that up. Since we are already since we are we will be working with the JavaScript Maps API, so I am only enabling this part. And if you want for Android and iOS, simply go for this two. Will not make any difference because we are using the maps in JavaScript itself. So I think the JavaScript one will work, but still on the safe side, this two enabling this won't make a problem for you. It's better if you do that up.
I need this API also. I'll click on manage. Now let's go to the APIs. Now which APIs I need to enable? Now I need to create the API key. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll go to credentials, and out here I'll create a credentials API key. I need to create it up, and this is the API key that is generated, and it is giving me a warning to restrict the API key which I am using right now. Okay, so I'll restrict it up. This is the procedure to restrict the API key. So right now I won't restrict anything. Now as you can see, this API key is generated. I'll just copy it up, okay, and use it in our application. But remember one thing, please do not use my API key because this won't be used in your system. As you can see now, I have not restricted, but I'll restrict it so that you won't be able to use it up. Okay, it will be used only in my application. So please get your own API key, okay, in order to use it in your application. Now one thing I want to give you a note that when you are integrating your billing account, it might ask you for some amount to be deducted from your debit or credit card. Say like in Indian rupees it is like 1 rupee. So just accept that. That is a very minimal charge. They are just checking it out that your account is properly connected or not. Okay, so that is just for verification purpose. So that is just a minimal charge, you can go for it. Okay,
So where am I going to show my Google Maps API or place it? Well, I'll go to the environments out here, and in here, what am I going to do? I'll make something called Google Maps API key. and out here I'm going to place my API key. So if you do that up, then you can use it anywhere you want and you don't need to show your APIs to each and every place you are going. So that's a better stuff to do. So I'll place this up out here, and in fact in the production one also I'll place the same. So let me simply copy this up. You just place your API key. I'm not showing it up out here. Alright. So let me just paste it, and simply I'll use the same thing out here too. I'll place the API key out here and use that up. Alright. Once that is done, I'll simply close these two files. Let me close it. Alright, that's done. Now I have placed my API key. I'm telling you again, you need to place your API key. I have not shown that part, the placing of the API key. Alright, because you won't be able to access my API key directly out there. Alright, the API keys are done. Now what I need to do next is to get our map ready, and for that I will do that part in this services. So let me create a Google Maps service. I think that will be better to work with, or should I do it out here? Well, mostly this part also you need to do it in a component part. I think that is a better option to work with. So dividing it into components and services is a better task, but since I'm showing you just the map part, so I'll be doing everything in one place only. That will be better to use, but still I will use this. I'll make use of the services. I think that will be better to make you understand regarding this thing. So I'll create a service, Ionic G service. I'll create a services folder which will be created automatically out here. So services slash, then I will have something called Google or Gmap, I think will be better. Gmaps will be a folder that will be created automatically, and within that I need to have the Gmap services. So let me just hit enter, and this is created out here, services, Gmaps service. That's great. Everything is working as expected. So far so good. Now in this service I'm going to have some functionality. Let me do it quickly. So out here I'm going to paste a function. Let me paste it at first. Now this function I've named it as load Google Maps. So this will be used to load our Google Maps, and out here what is the functionality, you need to understand it pretty nicely. Let me explain you one by one, but let me first get rid of the errors which I'm getting out here, which is only in the environment ones which we need to import. So I've just imported it, not from the prod, from the other file. Alright, because we're in the development phase right now. So once that is done, now what have I done? I have created a constant called win, which is holding the window. Alright, and I've given it of type any, otherwise it will create a problem if I don't give that. Now I have created another constant called gmodule, which will hold our Google. So win.google. Alright, so basically this is like how to call the Google Maps. That's the whole process out here. So out here we are just going to check if the Google Map already exists or not. Because in our system, if the Google Map is already loaded, then we don't need to load it again. That is why this is being done. As this is of type promise I have given, so it will return a promise resolve where gmodule.maps, which will be the Google Maps, it will pass it in the resolve. That means in the success you will get the Google Maps directly out there. Otherwise, what we need to do, we need to create a promise at first. This is how you create a promise, return new promise. Within that, resolve and reject. That's what I have done. And within that, I have created a script. Now, mostly where you pass the script in the index.html. Now, out here, I have not passed it in the index.html, because if you do that up, if there is any problem or if there is internet connection issue or anything else, you need to close your application and reload it up. Out here, we need to call that particular script whenever we want through the use of a function. That is what I have done out here. So with this particular dynamic script I have prepared, so this is a URL which will be helpful in calling our Google Maps API, basically to fetch the map out there. So this is the API out here, and I have called the library places. Well, you can skip this up. I think you need to have the places API enabled to use that up. You can simply skip it. You don't need it out here. I needed that for some other purpose, that is why I used it, but out here even I can skip, I suppose. Let me just remove this. I don't think I need it, right? Alright, and at last I have appended my Google Maps API key out here with this particular URL. So now this URL is properly ready, this script is ready, and what am I doing out here? I'm making this script asynchronous and defer. So these are the things you need to do. If you are not understanding this, you can simply go ahead with this stuff and basically understand that this will be used for loading the map. Alright. So after that, document.body.append child. So basically this thing is being used, this JavaScript part is used to make this script work. That is why this script is appended to that particular document child, alright, so that it works pretty nicely. Anyways, after this is done, when the script is loaded, what happens at that point of time? At that point of time, I'm calling a constant or creating a constant called loaded Google Map, Google module, or you can name anything you want out here, which will be equals to win.google, which we did at the very beginning, alright? And after that, I'm simply checking it again if the Google Map is there or not. If the Google Map is out here, then I'm simply passing this loaded Google module.maps the same way we did out here. And if it is not available, that means there is some issue with your Google Maps SDK. It is not available. So that can be the only issue that you might face out here. That is why I've given that particular rejection message. So this is the whole stuff you need to do in order to load the Google Maps. Basically what we are doing out here mainly, let me explain you. Out here the most important thing is creating the script and calling it in the or putting it in the body so that it will work whenever we want to have it. Alright. So that is what it's being done out here, and this URL is most important part. Other things are pretty simple because you are just calling that up just to check whether that is loaded or not. If you have that particular value, then simply it will be shown that the Google Maps is loaded and it will be thrown out there in the wherever we want to use it. Alright, so that is the whole stuff. I hope you have understood this part. Pretty simple. If you're finding it complicated, then simply skip all this part and focus on this part, the script. That is just the only part you need to understand. Other things are pretty okay. After running the script, what is happening, we are just putting on some checks and other stuff. If you skip that, if you don't understand that, still you can leave it. Alright, that's what I would say. And if you want to learn and you're confused about it, you can just let me know in the comment section. I'll explain you it pretty nicely. Alright, so after this is done, let me go to the home page HTML, and from here on I'll go to the TypeScript, and here on in the constructor I need to inject private gmaps from our gmap services. This is the one imported, correct? Now we can simply use that functionality out here. But before doing the functionality, we need to create some functions out here. Let's do that up. So out here for loading the map, what I need to do, I'll create a function out here called load map, within which I will call this dot gmaps dot load Google Maps function. That is from the services. I'm calling it directly out here, and I'll make it async because this was a promise. So we will get the value out here in the form of async await. That's better option. Alright, the spelling is corrected now, and I will have this value in a variable. Let me call it Google Maps. So this is done. Now what next I need to do? Well, the most important thing that I need to take care of is the try and catch, because the reject one we will not tackle it up until unless we have the try catch block. So let's do everything within the try catch block out here, and let me just close this. Now we have more space out here. That looks better, right? Don't you think so? Now I have the try block. Let's go for the catch one too quickly. There we go. I'll just log it out here. Won't do anything as of now. Once that is done, what next I need to take care of is the loading map is done. Next thing is creating something globally for Google Maps so that we can have the Google Maps whenever we want to use in some other function also. So for that, I will have out here Google Maps of type any. Once that is declared, I can simply use it out here in this particular manner, right? So once this is declared, we can use this Google Map wherever we want to have. Now I need to play around with this particular identifier. So let's do that up in our TypeScript. Out here only I'll do it. So we will use the viewChild attribute out here, property I would say. So viewChild, let me just update. Alright, it is imported properly. Element ref also. Alright, this is done. So I have passed this in our viewChild. This is how we use it in our TypeScript. Then I've given a property name out here, and it is of type element ref. So it is now navigating to that particular element. So this is clear out here. Alright, it's pretty simple to use, isn't it? Now I'll play around with this particular stuff for loading the map. So in that particular process, I need to get the native element for that particular identifier, and for doing that up, I'll create a constant called map element, or ELI in short, which will be equals to this dot element map element ref dot native element. That's what I'm calling out here, the native element I've called. So which will redirect to this particular div one which we have out here. So everything is sorted now. I have this in my map EL. Now for loading the map should load at a certain center point, right? So I will have a center point out here. Let me create any center point which will be having a proper latitude and longitude. So I've given New Delhi latitude and longitude, so you can just get your own one if you want to. Alright, so I have just done that part. Now once that is done out here, I can simply get the location and pass it in our Google Maps. Let's do that up. So at first out here, I will create a let long. So for that, I've created a constant called location, which will be equals to new Google Map. So this is the Google Map that I'm using. So new Google Map dot let long, and within that I have passed center dot let center dot lng, which I have already declared out here. Alright, so which is pretty simple to understand, right? So this is done. Now our location is ready. Now where I need to pass this particular location, let me just show you. So for passing this particular location, I have to create a Google Map. And what I'll do out here, I'll create another one called map of type any, or I can skip this up also, but let me keep it for the time being. And let me paste it out here, the code. Let's do it pretty quickly. So this is the particular code. Let me just have it properly out here, then I'll explain you. So this dot map will be equals to new Google Maps dot map, just the same way we have done out here. So we can simply use this new command and this Google Map. So basically this Google Map is holding the whole map and all the properties and functionalities of the Google Map, so of the JavaScript one. So we can directly call it out here in this particular manner, and within that I have passed the map el, the native element, to that particular div. So I have passed that up, and out there I have an option of passing few properties also, within which I have passed center. So the center location I have passed it up, which we are already holding in our location constant, which is in the form of a let long. And the zoom, how much you want to zoom into the map, that's what you can pass it out here. Mostly people keep it as 15 or something. I've kept it as 12. Let's look at it pretty closely. That's what I have done out here. If you want to change, you can simply change it to 15 also. Whatever you want to give out here, you can simply have it. All right. So once that is done, what is the next thing that we need to do? Now once the map is loaded properly, I told you before I had a class out here in the SCSS, where it is, I have to open it. So I have a class called map.visible. So visible class, I will be using it out here, which will give the opacity one, because before that the map won't load. So let me just do it. I'll go to the TypeScript, and out here what am I going to do after this is done? I will use this dot renderer dot add class, and I'll add this particular class to our map element. And that is how that particular stuff is working. Now this renderer, it won't work directly. For making it work, we have to pass something out here in our constructor, or we need to inject it up. Let's do that. So out here, let me pass a comma and let me paste it. So this is the renderer 2 that I will be using out here, which will help us to add that particular class. So now I've imported it up and it is good to go. No errors, right? Let me close it. Alright, so our visibility is also done. Now you must be wondering why I don't see anything out here, because I have not passed this functionality anywhere. Let's do that up. It's time to do it. So I will not pass it in the constructor. I won't be passing it in ng on init. I will be passing it in ng after view init. So after the view is settled up, then only I want to show this particular map. Otherwise this will give some errors or something. So that is pretty much necessary to do. For that, I will simply have out here implements. You can go for after view init also, but with on init, after view init also comes. So I will just have on init out here, because if you want to use ng on init, then also you can use it up out here. So I'll just pass it out here ng on init at first. Won't do anything so far, but I will be using ng after view init. It works automatically. You don't need to do anything else out here. It was not there earlier, but now since I have seen that it works, so I'm just directly using it without calling our after view init interface. So that's pretty good, because I think it is covered up in our this part only in a on init interface. Maybe that's why. Anyways, not a problem. So let's go for it. Out here, I'll call this dot load map function. Let's see what happens this time. You can see the map has loaded up, and you can see we are near to Delhi. So this is working, right? I don't have a marker as of now out here. I will have it. Don't need to worry about it. But still, our map is loaded. That's the best part we can have, right? Now if I just don't give this particular class, what will happen? You will see out here we don't see any map because the visibility is 0. Now if I give it, it will come up. There we go. So it is working as expected. Now what is the next thing that we need to take care of? That is to add the marker. So let's add a marker, and for that what I need to do, I need to have a icon out here in my assets folder. Let me place it. So I've just opened it up in Finder, and I've already copied the folder called icons, which is having a location pin. So this is the one. You can simply design it in Photoshop, or you can get it from wherever you want for free. So this is the one that I will be using. Let me close it and let's start working out here for the marker. So I'll create another function for the marker out here, which I'll name it as add marker function, and let's work with this particular functionality now. So whenever you're adding a marker, you need to have a location. So I'll just give a parameter called location, which will hold the location for us. And then I will be calling this particular Google Maps in the same manner only, but this will be reversed. So let me just show you. So I'll create a variable called Google Maps, which will hold the value of this particular Google Maps in this particular manner, so that we can use it wherever we want in this particular function. Now once that is done, I will create the icon. So I'll create a constant called icon, which will hold an object where I'll pass the URL to this particular location pin.png file, the image file that we have, and I'm scaling it to 50 pixels, so it will be pretty smaller. That's why you can play around with that however you want. All right. So this is the icon that I've created. Now where do we need to pass it up? Let me just show you that also. So for doing that up, let me create a constant called marker, and I've pasted the code out here. So new Google Map dot marker. That's how you can call a marker out here, and within that I have passed the position to be location. So these are the properties that you can have within the marker. You can just check it on the internet for Google Maps, and you will get all the stuff pretty informative way. All right. Then I'm passing the map, which is this dot map. That is why I have created a global variable for this particular map. All right. So, and after that is done, we have the icon. Once the icon is being passed, which we have already created out here, you can even pass draggable to true. Then you can drag the proper marker or marker of the particular icon. All right. I have just disabled it because I don't want to drag it up. And then I've given an animation. So drop animation, it's going to come from top, and it's going to look pretty lovely. So you will just see out here right now how it properly works. So let me just pass it out here. In wherever the map is loaded, I will just add the marker. So this dot add marker, and within this I'll pass the location, which is this particular location. So let me just pass it out here, and you will see, there we go. Just look at the animation. It is working pretty nicely, and I hope you are also enjoying it. Now we have certain properties out here called the satellite mode. If you just check it up, looking lovely, right? And you can zoom in, zoom out in this particular manner. You can have the full screen also in this particular manner, but I don't want that full screen right now. And you can just zoom in and zoom up with the help of your cursor pretty nicely and smoothly, right? So just look at this. How am I playing with this particular stuff, which is looking pretty lovely, right? So that's how you can play around with this stuff. So we have added the marker. Now this is not it. We are working with something more. What is it? Let me just show you. Now at first let me go to the map one only. This design I feel better. This way look. And now what I'll do, whenever you click on that particular map, so let me say if I'm clicking out here, nothing is happening so far, right? But I want something to be done out here when I'm clicking on the map. So for doing that up, what I need to do, well, let me create a function out here, this dot on map click. All right, on map click, that's fine, I think, fine. And this particular function, let me just create it out here. I'll paste it. So this is created, this particular function. Now on map click, I have just created a global, I have not created, I've just passed it, map click listener. Let me copy it up and I will pass it out here globally, which will be of type any. So this is an event listener that I'm calling out here. All right, so that we can remove it later on. So this event listener is doing what? Let me just show you properly. So this dot Google Maps dot event dot add listener. So I'm adding a listener which will listen for this particular map click event. All right, and then this is the event that is getting triggered. You can name it anything you want out here, but this thing is important, you can't change it. This is the event that is getting triggered. If you write some other event, then that event will get triggered out here, so that it will only understand the click event out here. That is what I'm doing. All right, once you get to know that, I'm just logging up what is the value of the lat and long in the event, and I've converted it into JSON format so that we can check it properly how it shows up. Now once that is done, I'm just passing the let and long to this particular add marker so that it will be added, a new marker will be added out there. So because it only accepts in the let and long, that is why I'm doing that up. If you want to see what is there in the console log, let me just show you out here. So this is the log that I have opened up. Everything is good to go. Let me click anywhere out here in the map. I'm ready to go. Let me click out here. You can see I'm getting the latitude and longitude, and out here a new marker is created. That is how you can create endless markers out here. All right, just look at this. But if you click on the same marker again, it won't work. Just check this out. I'm clicking on this particular marker. Nothing is happening out here. If I clear this up, let me clear it. Now if I click on the same marker again, you can see no other marker is overlapping that. But if I click somewhere else, it is coming up. So that is also very much important, that it is understanding, okay fine, there is already a marker, so nothing should happen out there. That is a better smart approach, right? So this is working. Now we are able to create multiple markers on a map. That's a great stuff. Are we done? No, we still have a lot more to go. Now this is created. That's better stuff actually. Now the most important part is to remove those markers. When you click it again, if you click on that marker again, it should get removed. So for that, I need to create an array at first and copy or have all the markers out there. So let's do that up. So what I'll do, I will have out here a markers array of type any array, which will be initialized to an empty array. Once that is done, I can simply use it out here. When we are adding the marker, I will do what? I will push the new marker within this particular array in this particular manner. Alright, once that is done, what is the next thing that I need to do? I will create a listener out here. So for that, let me just declare it out here at first. So marker click listener, which will be of type any out here, and let me pass it out here in the add marker one, because the event will get triggered as soon as the marker is added, right? So I'll just create it out here. This dot marker click listener will be equals to, I'll paste it, this dot Google Maps dot event dot as listener, like the same one that we did earlier. I'll pass this particular marker out here, and on that particular click event, I'll be calling a callback functionality out here, where I will simply pass marker click, basically logging it up just to check the marker value out here. And then I'll be calling a functionality which I have not created now, just I'll create it right now, which will hold which will check and remove the marker. All right, and then I will just check the value of the markers array. What do we have out there? This thing is not needed. Let me remove it. Now I'll create this particular function in here. Let's do it. Now within this particular function, we need to apply some functionality. Let's go for that one by one. At first I need to pass the parameters, so that will be a marker only. And within this, what I'll do, I will try to match the position of the marker with the array that we have, each and every element in the array, whether it matches with anybody or not. If it matches, then I'll simply remove that up. Let me just show you. Let me just paste the code quickly. So I'm just trying to find the index at first. So I'm using this dot markers on the array. I'm just finding the index where the position of that particular element in the array is equals to the marker position. So latitude and longitude both I'm checking out here. All right, if you don't want to check that, you can just go for the let long also, but I think this is the better approach to go for. So latitude and longitude I'm checking out here. This is how you get it. You can just simply log it up and check whether what is the value that is coming up out here. So once that is done, we will get the index. If the index is having some value, that means the marker is already there, right? But if that will only happen if the index value is greater than equals to 0, because if it is less than 0, that means there is no marker that is available out there, and because the value is negative, that won't happen, right, in an array, correct? So if we have this particular condition satisfied, then only I'll go ahead and the index of that particular marker, I will set the map to null. That means I'll simply remove that from the map. And once that is done, I will remove that from the array list also by using the splice function. So I'm just passing the index, and only one element we need to remove. That is why I've given the count as 1. And simply at last I'm just passing return. We don't have anything else to do out here. You can simply don't remove this return also if you want to, but I'll just skip it for the time being. That's better. All right. So this is the whole thing that you need to do. Now if I click on any marker out here, that's gonna get removed. Let's try that up. So let me just have few markers at first. All right, I have few markers now. correct? Now what I'll do, I'll click out here, removed, 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 removed. This is also removed and removed. All the markers are removed. If I click anywhere else, new marker is created. So this is how you can play around with the markers out here, right? Now one of the subscribers asked me that how can we have an action sheet out here if we click on that particular marker. So it's pretty simple. Well, if you click on this particular marker, let me just show you. Whenever you're adding a marker, so let's go to our add marker function out here. Okay, after you add it in the array, then we can simply have our this action sheet out here. So let me just create a function for the action sheet, a simple function. Let me just paste it out here. So this is the functionality that I've just given, just an example one that I'm using out here. You can simply change it as per your requirement. Now I need to have the action sheet injected in my constructor. Let's do that at first, otherwise that's going to pop up the error. So let me simply do it quickly. All right, import. Once the importing is done, we are good to go, right? No errors right now. So this is the action sheet that I have. Okay, let me just change it out here. Let me give the header to be marker, added marker, and subheading, well, let me just not give anything. Then the button, delete, instead of delete, remove, that will be my text. And instead of share, let me give save. I'm just passing the names, guys. I'm not going for the functionality of the action sheet, because that's pretty simple. Whatever you want, you can do it up out there, but I don't want to go for anything out here. That is why I'm just doing it up. So this is the simple stuff. Now if I go for anything out here, okay, I've not called this function anywhere. Let me just call it out here. Where was I? Yeah, after this is done, I'll simply call it out here, this dot present action sheet function called. Alright, once that is done, we are good to go. You can see once the marker is added, the first marker, it is coming up. Let me cancel this up. If I click anywhere else, this is loaded and we got that. Again, marker is added and it is showing up. So you can just play around with this stuff, because it is creating some, I don't like that much, so I'm just removing this up, but the functionality is the same that you can see out here. Alright, so I hope it's pretty clear for you to work with this particular stuff. So now our map is completely ready with the removing of the markers functionality. This is the JavaScript Google Maps. Alright, you can remove, add, however you like to have out here. Fine. Now the only thing that is left is to remove the listeners at the very end. So for that I will be using ng on destroy function, but in order to use this function we need to implement an interface out here where it is, yeah, on destroy. Alright, it is imported automatically. Once that is done, we simply need to check out here, or I can go for this dot Google Maps dot event dot remove all listeners. Maybe this is the function that we can use, I suppose. I think this will work for removing all the listeners. But if this doesn't work, then you can simply do one thing. Well, you can just remove it one by one. You can check for map click listener and remove it up. I'll paste it once again and change it to marker click listener. This one also marker click listener, because after you are done with this particular page, you're not using it anywhere else, so you can simply just destroy these listeners. Otherwise this is going to create memory leaks in your application. That won't be good for you. So this is a better approach to work with. So we have removed the listeners at the very end. We are not in when it is not in use. Before that, whatever we have done, you can just check it out here, pretty nicely working, right? We have the click event. You can have the drag event also if you want to, but I am not going for in depth of that. Alright, so this is the whole functionality, how to work with JavaScript Google Maps in a simpler way to work with the markers. And along with that, I have shown you how to create a dynamic script out here for the loading of Google Maps. And along with that, we have also seen how to remove it. And we have also seen how to have the marker click listener and remove all the listeners at the very end. So many stuffs in one. So I hope you have got a lot of information in this particular video. If you like this particular video, please hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done out here, because this content is free of cost and your subscription will help the channel grow. So I'm pretty much sure you will do that up. So with this, I will sign off for this particular video. Keep watching the channel and I'll see you next time.